Let's talk about producers. What makes somebody a producer and what is their role and what do they do? It's probably going to be more than one video about this. I've heard somebody sum it up as plainly as saying the producer is the person who decides when the song is done. And yes, that is true. There's a lot more to it than that, but ultimately that is what it comes down to. I've also heard it explained that there are 4 different kinds of producers. There are mixing producers, player producers, programmer producers, and writer producers. Now, a programmer producer is the one who works in MIDI and would hands-on build the track in Logic or Pro Tools. A player producer is somebody who's got an instrument that they're most proficient in. I am a writer producer. That is definitely where my strength is as a writer. And then there are mixing engineers. Each of these kinds of producers tends to do best in the area that they gravitate toward. Some people are just well-rounded and can do everything. But ultimately, the producer is the one who is kind of like the director of a movie, where they're the one that decides which guitar player they're going to hire or play it themselves, or what the aesthetic is of the track. They make the final call on when the parts are where they need to be and how everybody needs to be performing. A lot of the time, the producer will own their own studio, whether it's a home studio or a rented space somewhere. But sometimes a producer will hire out a bigger recording studio, depending on the genre of the music. If it's a kind of song that needs live players, they may need to rent out a larger space. So all of those factors will affect how much you need to pay a producer to produce your song. And it also is good to ask the question, do I really need to hire a producer or do I need to hire just an engineer? Because if you as a songwriter/artist have a really strong vision for the sound that you want to end up with, and if you know who you want to work with, then you may not actually need to hire a producer. You just may need to hire an engineer who can push the buttons and turn the knobs until you get the sound that you're happy with. But if you're not comfortable sitting in that seat, then you may want to hire a producer. I want to talk more about producers, but that's all I'm going to say for now.